Morning, everyone. I believe we do have quorum at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and poll members by name, and please just say hi or good morning. So Susan Anderson.
Hey, good morning.
Morning. Hugh Bigalk.
Morning.
Trisha Boyer.
Here, good morning.
Alyssa Dahl.
I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning. Albert Garcia.
Good morning.
Hong Ho.
Good morning.
Let's see. David Lucas.
Good morning, everyone.
Eduardo Rodales.
Here.
Mike Sutton.
Here. Morning.
Good morning. And Jeff King.
Good morning for Tony.
Good morning. And Marty Zeich.
Good morning.
Morning. Are there any other members that are participating that I missed? Okay, with that, we do have quorum. So this meeting of the MAG ITS committee is called to order. Please mute your microphone to eliminate any feedback, and you will have the opportunity to use the raise your hand icon to be recognized, at which time you can unmute your microphone to talk. When you begin speaking, please state your name and your organization. With that, we'll go into item number 2. Call to the audience. Members of the public were asked to submit written comments related to this meeting through the MAG website. Comments may be sent at any time leading up to the meeting, but must be received at least 1 hour before the posted start time. This is the opportunity for members of the public to comment on items that fall under MAG jurisdictions but are not on the agenda or on the agenda for discussion and not for action. Omar, do we have any public comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the ITS committee, we received no comments on this item or any other items on the agenda.
Okay, thank you, Omar. With that, we'll move on to item number 3. And please take a few moments to review the minutes from the February 2nd meeting, if you have not already. Okay, does any committee member have any revisions? Please use the raise your hand icon if so. Okay, seeing none, could I have a motion to recommend approval of the meeting minutes of the February 2nd, 2022? Please indicate so by selecting the raise your hand icon. I see we have a motion from David. If I could get a second. And we have a second from Trisha. We have a motion from David and a second from Trisha. When I call your name, please indicate yay or nay. Susan Anderson.
Yay.
Hugh Bigalk.
Yay.
Trisha Boyer.
Yay.
Alyssa Dahl.
Yay.
Albert Garcia. Albert. Okay, Hong Ho,
Yay.
Bruce Littleton,
Yay.
David Lucas,
Yay.
Eduardo Regales,
Yay.
Marshall Regal,
Yay.
Mike Sutton,
Yay.
and April Wire,
Yay.
and Marty Syke.
Yay.
Okay, with the motion and a second, when members polled on the teleconference, the motion passes. Next, we'll move on to the program managers report. The MAG at TSMNO program manager Jeff Jenk will now provide updates and a report to the committee. It's all yours, Jeff.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, ITS committee members. The first item on the program manager's report is the federal updates by Mr. Jeff King of the Arizona Division of the Federal Highway Administration. Jeff?
Thank you, Jeff and Mr. Chair. Good morning, everybody. Many of you may know Tony's rotational assignment got extended, so you'll have me for at least the next couple months. Over the last couple of weeks, I was traveling out of state, but even though I was off, I heard a lot of activity, media coverage related to, needing a heightened awareness to cybersecurity. And I wanted to bring your attention to the first bullet. CISA is a federal cybersecurity infrastructure security agency. They're a great resource for information related to cybersecurity, infrastructure security, not only for agencies, but for the public, and it is open to the public. I think it was just a couple days ago, they had issued their Shields Up advisory, urging all organizations to adopt a heightened posture related to cybersecurity. Many of you, over the week I was gone, I subscribed to these news reports, and I saw one that popped up related to a couple of DMS, I think they were portable DMS signs at a construction site here in Phoenix on I-17 that had been hacked. During the same week, there were several throughout the nation that have been hacked. Just an example. If you wanted to see those stories, I think you can still Google highway signs hacked in Phoenix, and it'd probably pop up several different links to it. On organizing and planning for operations, that link will take you to the FHWA Communicating TMSO Outreach Materials page. There's a couple new resources on that page, as well as several prior existing but still current resources. The second link in that group will take you to current activities and projects that the FHWA Office of Operation are working on. Even though the link says 2021, it's projects that'll be completed throughout 2022. And some of those include an update and expanding the model plans for the TSMO desk reference, connecting TSMO and transportation equity, the TSMO strategy toolbox, as well as several others that'll be completed between now and I think the last one was scheduled to be completed by September. The last two documents, mainstreaming TMSO, is an infographic that may be useful to some of you, and the coordination of IT and TSMO fact sheets. Both of those are recently released and posted at those links. That's all I have for you this month. Thanks again.
Great, thanks, Jeff. Next slide, please. Well, MAG has started the planning for the reopening of the office. The future MAG committee meeting will be conducted in the hybrid mode, allowing both in-person and online attendance. And all MAC conference rooms have been upgraded to support the hybrid functions. The plan is that all technical committees can be conducted in hybrid mode starting in the month of April. And it's up to the individual committee to decide when to start implementing this option. Well, I spoke to the MAC Safety Committee program manager, Margaret, since the two committees have a lot of overlap in terms of the members. So we have coordinated on and planning to do a survey with the committee members to find out your preference, as well as any suggestions or requests that you might have. So the survey should be coming up in the week or two. Next slide, please. Well, I'm happy to report that all the FY 2022 TSP projects are currently underway. 2 projects are in the stage of developing the timing plans. 7 projects are in the data collection stage. The Gilbert project was affected by the new freeway interchange and took a little longer to finalize the scope, but it's now underway. Well, thanks to the committee members of those who participated in this wave of the TSP for your kind assistance. It is expected that all projects will be completed by June 30th. Next slide, please. Well, we recently sent out invites to the committee members for the working group meetings to discuss the repurposing of the TIP funds. Specifically, there's $5.3 million left over from the recent call for projects, and there's a $4 million line item from the SMNO plan project number 7, originally for implementing the static wayfinding signs. There were 2 meetings scheduled. At the first meeting on March 8th, which is next Tuesday, we will hear the policy guidance regarding the funds repurposing from the MAC TIP program supervisor, Patrick Stone, and we will explore the possible options with the committee members. Then in the second meeting, we will discuss the specific proposal and collaboratively determine the recommendation to the ITS committee for approval. So March 8th, next Tuesday, I look forward to committee members, and please give thought to it and bring your ideas and any questions that you might have to the discussion. Next slide, please. Well, the next item is an announcement that the MAC Emerging Technology Pilot Pedestrian and Bicyclist Detection Project field report, final report, is available through request. This project was presented in January ITS committee meetings, and it evaluated 7 technologies in various locations in the cities of Phoenix and Tempe. The study looked into the accuracy of accounting pedestrian and bicyclists, as well as the ability to extend the walk time when a pedestrian is detected in this crosswalk. It was a very unique study looking beyond the vehicular detections using the existing ITS infrastructure. To request a copy of the report, please feel free to reach out to me or Dr. Wang Zhang. Next item, please. Well, the ITS Arizona is under the new leadership. I'd like to invite David Lucas, the president of the ITS Arizona, for an update on the upcoming events. David?
Thank you, Jeff. Mr. Chair, members of the ITS committee. Just several updates I wanted to provide you today. Thank you for the time. First is our annual internship program. For those of you who aren't aware, ITS Arizona provides funds that are intended to be matching funds from an agency or company to support an internship. And information and details about the application will be posted online later today. So please keep an eye out for that, or you may reach out to me directly with any questions. We also have an RFP that's been posted to the website for a conference coordinator. Our longtime conference coordinator has moved on to other things and will no longer be supporting this year's conference, unfortunately. So the RFP closes March 23rd, and this is a paid position, which provides additional support to the conference committee, which is composed primarily of the board and volunteers. This does not require conference experience, although that is preferable. We're just looking for someone who maybe wants to get involved, learn more about ITS Arizona, and help out and make sure that our conferences continue to be a success. And finally, the dates for this year's 29th annual conference will be October 19th and 20th. We had a conflict with Roads and Streets, which moved up into our usual timeframe, the end of September. So just wanted to make sure those dates are on your calendar. We will continue to be at the Mesa Convention Center. However, we are expanding our footprint this year, and the plan is to be in buildings B and C, whereas typically we're just in building C. And that's to provide additional space for the exhibit hall, which will be expanding, and address some of the noise issues and things like that that we've had in years past. So we look forward to additional opportunities to support our vendors, more space, larger exhibit halls, things like that. Any questions, please reach out to this year's conference chair, Michelle Beckley, at vicepresident@itsaz.org. Jeff, back to you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, David. We look forward to the exciting year under your leadership. Well, this concludes my program manager's report. I'll be happy to entertain any questions that you might have. Hearing none, I'll give it back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Jeff. We'll move on to item number 5, trajectory-based automated performance measures for arterial signal timing. While significant research has been conducted regarding performance measures on freeway operations, there is a lack of generally accepted methodology or criteria for evaluating signalized corridor performance. This presentation focuses on using vehicles' trajectories for evaluating corridor signal timing coordination. I'd like to invite Jeff Jenk to provide an overview of this item.
Great, thank you, Mr. Chair, for the intro. I would like to recognize that our speaker, Dr. Tian, is the inventor of the TransSync tool that we have recently introduced in the TSP program. And Dr. Tian is extremely passionate in the field of traffic signal operations. This is evident in his national research leadership. He is also renowned for his uncanny ability in working with the practitioners to develop the real world solutions. And this presentation you're about to hear is aligned with the MAG's objective to improve the regional practice in the traffic signal operations. Without further ado, it's my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Tian for the presentation. Dr. Tian.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. And thank you, Mr. Chair, and all the committee members. It's really my great pleasure to have this opportunity to talk to you some of the work that we have done. My understanding is that not everybody in this group actually work on signal timing. And therefore, you may not fully understand some of the technical details, but I'm still hoping, at least you will get the major ideas, what is behind trajectory-based performance. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is kind of a outline what I'm going to talk about. If I don't know if everybody is aware of or have heard of what is called ATSPM. automated traffic signal performance measures. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the two types of such systems. One is called detector phase-based. So this is what the FHWA is currently advocating. And then the second is vehicle trajectory-based. And my second focus is to talk about, based on the vehicle trajectories, so how can we come up with some kind of performance measures, which I call it quality of signal timing index, and how can we use that in practice to evaluate the signal timing projects. And then third part is kind of a case. I want to show you a case to kind of indicate the correlation between a detector phase-based versus a trajectory-based. So before we move on, I want to just throw out 3 questions. While you are listening to my presentation, I want to keep in mind these 3 questions. And by the end, hopefully you will get some opinions about how to answer these 3 questions. So the first question is, ATSPM, this is currently, as I said, FHWA is advocating. Many agencies has implemented. So do you believe ATSPM can automatically provide signal timing plans, timing solutions, so that once you have it, you no longer need to do signal retiming? So this is the first question. The second question is, what is lacking or missing with the current practice on evaluating signal retiming projects? So what is really the current practice? It's before after studies, right? So that's very normal. We do before after studies. So what is missing or lacking in this current practice? So that's the second question. The third question is, we have different performance measures either generated from ATSPM, detector event-based versus trajectory-based. How can we really adopt them into the current practice? So just keep in mind these 3 questions as you hear my talk. Next, please. So this is the, I call it detector phase, signal phase-based ATSPM. So this is what the FHWA is currently advocating. And what you are seeing here is it's showing at a particular intersection approach and at different cycles, how the vehicles arrived. You can see that those dense black dots, those are vehicle arrivals. And you can see the 2 parts, right? When it's a bad offset, the most vehicles arrive when it's red. And then once you change the offset, most vehicles arrive on green. So this is a percent arrival on red, percent arrival on green or green. So this is one of the major measures reported from ATSPM. Next, please. But you need to recognize this is only based on one intersection approach. So how can we evaluate the entire corridor as a whole? Research has attempted to come up with a criteria. So this is one of the research. I'm not going to get into details. Basically, you look at all the intersections, you look at the percent arrival on green, also the volume to capacity ratio. And so what you gave a letter grade, A, B, C, D, or F, and then you pick the worst as an indicator for the entire corridor. So this is just a research idea. I did ask in the IT community, which agency has implemented something like this. So no agency really responded. So so this is something, like I said, it's just a research idea. Next, please. Next. Now I'm going to focus on the trajectory-based, different from the event-based. So trajectory-based is really, we're talking about floating car type of travel runs. Currently, like I said, we do before-after studies. So you go there to drive, you collect the before and after travel runs, and then you report the travel time and delay. Now, trajectory-based performance do we have something in place? Some agencies actually are using with a certain kind of measures. So as far as I know, Orange County in California is the only agency that has something similar in place. So this is called a corridor synchronization performance index. So it's a kind of score based, based on the stop and the speed, you gave a score. So I'm going to show you later in more detail about this. And then we did some enhancement on our research group. I'm also going to show you, how does that look like. So based on trajectories, how the signal corridor synchronization performance index looks like. Next, please. Yeah, just click that. You see this, okay, yeah, here, stop here. So this is what the Orange County has used, how their methodology works. You can see there's a speed, average speed, there's a green per red. Red is a stop, green is non-stop. So basically you report, if I have 10 signals, I made 2 stops, so that green to red is going to be 8 to 2. So 8 green versus 2 red. And then 30 is a stop per mile. So each measure, there's a score. On the right is the corresponding score. And then you add all these 3 scores, you come up with a total score. So click, just click. Now this is their tier. You can see tier 1, if you got a total score above 80, that means this is a good signal coordination. So probably you shouldn't spend money on this corridor. And then tier 2, tier 3, you can see it based on different scores. So it's a score based. Again, you think about it. Earlier I asked you, why do we need such a performance index? The before after study, why that is not enough. Before after study, yes, you can show the after is better than before, but it doesn't really give you an indication, can we still do better? If we do the best, what performance can we achieve? So this is why we need such a performance index. Next, please. I just want to show you, these are 2 trajectories. And you can see this corridor has 11 intersections. So there are 2 trajectories. Hopefully everybody can read the trajectories. You can see the slope is the speed and the stop is the horizontal. If there's horizontal line, that's a stop. The stop can be long, can be short, right? Click. Based on these trajectories, so this is Orange County's methodology. It gives you a score, like the one on the top, which is the line on the right, you get 92. And the other one, you get 65. So 92 is the tier 1. So that means trajectory number 1 is actually very good. The second one is not so good. You can tell, right? The travel time is long, number of stops is more, and the stop is also long. Now, what's the next? I'm going to talk about our enhancement. So this methodology, in general, is a good idea, but there's certain things that is missing. For example, you only know the speed, but what is the speed limit for you to achieve this speed? And the stop, yes, it's a stop, but the stop can be very long, can be very short. So definitely we cannot treat a long stop and short stop the same way, right? So these are the sort of enhancement that we did. So next, the same trajectory, click, and this is the UNR, the research we did. Now you can see there's a speed, of course, and percent speed. That is a percent speed of the free flow speed or speed limit. Then there's a speed score, number of stops, 3, and then we convert that into standard stop, 1.7. That means 3 stop, actually they are pretty short. And then percent stop, and then you come up another score combining both. And then there are further adjustments. For example, what cycle did you use to achieve this performance? if we use the very long cycle, we will deduct some points from that. And also the final score is based on 100 scale. So it's a lot easier for people to interpret. So you got 95, that's A. You got 70, that's C. So this is the UNR's performance index. Next. Now, how can we get these trajectories? Of course, you can go there to collect them manually. Jeff mentioned the next fiscal year, and all the TSP project requires TransSync, using TransSync to collect these trajectories. But if you go there to collect these trajectories manually, it's time consuming, right? It's the number of samples is still limited. So how can we get many trajectories automatically from a third party data sources? So this is what we have developed. This program is called STEP, Systematic Trajectory Extraction Program. It works with the visual. So I know in the region you have visual data. So visual provide raw trip data, and this program will extract the trajectories based on the corridor you define, and also the time period you define, AM, midday, PM. Next, please. This is just one example to show you. This is a corridor in Reno, Kiski Lane. This is the midday and running between 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And these trajectories were automatically extracted from visual data. And you can see we have the TimeSpace diagram. And the trajectories, after we extract these trajectories, it's going to be in the same format that you can easily import into TransSync. And you can see these trajectories aligned very well with the TimeSpace diagram. So everything is very clear, why you made a stop, why you didn't make a stop. So with the TimeSpace diagram at the background and the trajectory in the front, and you can clearly see what's happening. Next. Now, what is the performance based on this? First, the Orange County Performance Index, as you can see, is showing, just click, it's going to highlight the total score. The two directions, you can see 102, 106, average 103, which is way above 80. So that's excellent. The greens per red ratio, that's 5.5. I highlight this one because this is a lot easier for you to understand. Greens per red, every stop, how many greens you passed. As a comparison, Orange County, like I said, Orange County, California, they do this kind of performance report every 2 years. So their region, on average, this number, greens per red, is about 2. So 2, in my opinion, is not a very, very good performance. And so, I just want to kind of have a sense to compare with their numbers to see where we are. So that's the Orange County's performance index. Next. And click again. Yeah. So here, this is UNR's. As I said, the score is based on 100 scale now. You can see it on average, both directions. We got 91, which is A minus. And then for northbound, it's 89, it's the B plus. Southbound is 94, is A. Okay. At the beginning, you also see the number of trajectories, total of 43, and northbound 29, southbound 14. So this is based on, I think, 2 weeks of data for this particular corridor. Next, please. Now, this is another location. Apparently, for this location, we got a lot more trajectories. And this, the raw data is about 3 seconds per location. Too many, it's hard to see whether where it matched the timing or it didn't match the timing. Click next. let's just look at the perform. Oh, I didn't have a performance. So anyway, so that just gave you an idea. This program we have, we can automatically extract these trajectories. What I want to present next is a case study. I want to take a look to see the detector event-based measures, how it is correlate with the trajectory-based. I select this segment in Las Vegas because Las Vegas, they implemented the ATS-PM. For this particular segment, and they were able to report percent arrival on red. As you can see here, I marked the 2 directions at each signal. Okay, where if you don't see the numbers, that means the data is not available. Detector either was not working or they didn't implement anything to collect such data. So the blue going westbound. So the green, the arrow going eastbound. I just arbitrarily marked anything above 50%. So here we're looking at the percent arrival on red. What percent of vehicles arrived when it's red, okay? I just marked everything above 50% as red. So means, yeah, probably it's not so good, okay? So if it's below 50, then I didn't mark anything. It's just black. Next, please. Now you can see on this figure, on the right is the same number. On the left is the time-space diagram with the trajectories. So I didn't put really the timing information there. It's just the trajectories. And then you look at all these trajectories. Let's just look at the westbound. Okay, let's just focus on the westbound. Westbound is on the right side is the blue arrows. On the left side is going from the bottom to the top. And you can see the first one, 59% at Jones Boulevard. It's because every vehicle stopped. So that matched pretty well, the trajectory versus detector-based measures. And then 53% at Torrey Pines. Yes, every vehicle, most vehicle stopped. That's why that percent arrival on red is high, although the stop is much shorter than at Jones. And then look at the 51% at the Buffalo Drive. That also matched very well, right? 51% arrival on red because every vehicle stopped there. The place that didn't match is where you see that 30% Tenaya Way, 30%, although every vehicle stopped there. However, the detector-based event says the percent arrival actually, percent arrival on red is not that bad. So why is that? By just looking at this in the trajectory or the percent arrival on red, it's hard to really hard to tell. Why is that? So next. Once you put the time-space diagram, so here is the time-space diagram of the timing plan, and then you can see the reason. We just click. Yeah, when you click this, you see those arrows, okay, those white arrows, is indicating departure from the upstream. Okay, upstream green stars and the platoon stars start to depart. And when they arrive the next signal, they all hit red, right? That's why you see a higher percent arrival on red. Okay. However, if we look at the one I just mentioned, Tenaya Way, 30%, you look at the upstream when the green stars, and by the time they get to the downstream, it's actually the platoon arrive when the downstream is already green. So that's why it's reporting lower percent arrival on red. Next. But if you pull out the time-space diagram, the timing and the trajectory, then you can clearly see why every vehicle stopped, because we started from upstream, Decatur, the first signal, Decatur Boulevard, okay? By the time we reached Tenaya Way, we were out of the band. So that's the reason we hit red there. So now what I want to indicate is that, most of the time from the trajectory, from the time-space diagram, you can pretty much see, whether why the timing plan is a good one or not so good one, and where you should expect higher % arrival on red. But just the trajectory without the time-space diagram, just the % arrival on red alone will not give you a full picture of what's happening. Next, please. Next. Just click. Yeah. So here is a short video. For those who has never seen how TransSync works, this is to indicate. You can play the video. You can see we departed from upstream, right? Going through this signal, that's fine. When it's still green, green means look at the blue color. Now we are out of the band. So this vehicle is out of the band. And the next signal is about to turn yellow and it's going to hit red. So I'm really glad to hear that the region is going to adopt TransSync for signal timing project. So this kind of trajectory plus video really gave you a confirmation, what's happening with the signal timing. Next, please. Yeah, this is just to show the timing plan versus real time. Real time, the time space diagram I got from their central system. Next. It's pretty consistent, both. And then this is for the PM peak. So I look at the PM peak and also got the % arrival on red. Next. And the trajectories. And you can see this time the trajectories, again, these trajectories also from third-party data sources automatically extracted and plotted, aligned very well, right? It's aligned with the timing plan very well. Next, please. A quick summary. Okay, hopefully I'm still within the time limit. So what I discussed in this presentation, I talked about the two types of ATS-PM, detector fate event-based versus trajectory-based. So both can be automatic. Click. And currently, as I mentioned earlier, it's really there's no widely accepted performance measures are available yet for evaluating corridor level signal timing. Yeah, we do have before after, but before after, as I mentioned, it doesn't give you indication at what level the quality of the timing is. So that is something is really missing in the current practice. Click. I mentioned, % arrival on red alone or vehicle trajectories alone, is not enough. You really need probably a trajectory, at least with the time-space diagram. Arrival on red will give you another indication to confirm, what's happening with the signal timing. Last. Now, this is the one thing, I do want to emphasize. Because we have been emphasizing performance measures for so many years. Never forget our ultimate goal is to eventually improve the system operations. It's not you just get measures and without knowing how to really apply them, how to improve the signal system. Okay, so never forget our ultimate goal as an engineer is to improve. Now, go back to the earlier question I asked you. Do you think once you have ATS-PM, you no longer need to do signal timing? The system will automatically give you a solution to improve signal timing. So think about it. I'm not going to say anything now. If you want to further discuss, certainly we can discuss. I can give you my opinions. So that's pretty much my presentation. Hopefully, like I said, even you don't work on signal timing, you get the idea. There is a better way. There's a better way of evaluating signal performance for our projects. So thank you again. Be happy to answer any questions if you have.
Hong, you have a question?
Yes. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Dr. Tian. It's very informative and very good presentation. I have a quick question. You mentioned the trajectory-based the performance index the university proposed. Is that part of your system, the TransSync? Or
Yes.
it's a separate like a subscription-based service?
No, the reporting is part of it, but to extract the trajectories from Weizhou, that is a separate software step I mentioned, right? But once you have, if you have the trajectories, the performance index reporting, that's part of the functions of TransSync.
So then as a user, do we need to subscribe to a separate service to get the vehicle trajectory in order to get the performance index?
But the trajectory, okay, if you want to go there to collect on your own, you don't need anything, right? You just get the trajectories. But if you want to use Weizhou data, yes, you have to purchase Weizhou data, and also you need to use our software, the step, to extract the trajectories from that data.
Okay, so your software doesn't provide those data feed, but as long as we purchase that data feed, then your software can run analysis, provide the report.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, it's a separate. We have to have a separate service subscription to the visual data.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we have any other questions? Okay, I don't see any. Thank you so much for your time and for the presentation. With that, we'll go ahead and move on to our next agenda item. The Regional Fiber Upgrade Task Force reports to the ITS Committee on project recommendations and funding direction to best support reliable fiber communications for the region. On February 15th of this year, the task force recommended 2 projects that will assist local agencies in improving communication networks. This item is for information, discussion, and possible action to approve the projects and procurement of fiber optic cables for future projects. I'd like to invite Eric Nava and Ryan Gish to present this item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, members of the ITS committee. Good morning. Today, I'd like to go over this agenda item in discussion regarding the task force recommended actions for the FY22 projects that we have continuing through our task force. So as a quick reminder of what the task force roles and responsibilities really are, based on the SM&O Systems Management Operations Plan that is managed by the ITS committee, one of the activities was to look into a program in which fiber optic communication and communication consistency and resiliency for the region be looked at, maintained, and provided with future or with funding to help fill in or make maintenance or upgrade repairs for the region. So the task force was developed to perform these decision makings to look into that. So one of them is, again, to look at the services needed and potential list of projects and needs throughout the region that best serve in terms of regional communications for transportation. And then the task force brings those recommendations. And last we spoke in regards to this was, I believe, in November, making decisions for a current project that we have ongoing right now. So the projects so far that we've done, FY 2021, we performed a short pilot based on this task force to repair a fiber, so it's a fiber replacement that was between ADOT and ADOT TOC and McDOT's TMC to repair that along Durango Road, which proved to be best served and well suited for this type of effort for our task force. And currently for FY22, we have a project in the town of Queen Creek, between the town of Queen Creek and City of Mesa, that is providing some fiber and existing conduit and being able to connect town of Queen Creek to the City of Mesa, as well as to the RCN through this fiber communication or fiber installation. And that project is ongoing and should be installed probably within the next month or two. So we're excited to complete that. Now, as previously mentioned, we did meet approximately about a month ago or so, or less than a month ago, to discuss what other projects that we had potentially coming up. One of them is a project that would connect the city of Tempe and the city of Scottsdale as a fiber connection for some redundancy, as well as a potential fiber upgrade or repair portion for the city of Chandler through in a portion by along with ADOT. So I'd like to invite Ryan Gish, who's co-chairing on this task force, to give us updates on those potential projects, as well as the procurement of fiber cable. Ryan?
Sounds good. Thank you, Eric. Mr. Chair and members of the ITS committee, we'll just kind of go through some of these little projects and some of the items that we had discussed at our last task force. So Eric, you want to jump to the next? Thank you, sir. So one of those, Eric kind of touched on lightly, but just to kind of go a little more detail. If anybody has any questions, feel free to jump in at any time after these little updates here. So one of them is kind of a critical link we have for the RCN and also for some other regional connections along here. There's a fiber link that goes from ADOT, it's a handoff from ADOT that goes over to City of Chandler. And this link, as you can see in the picture down below, it's kind of a link, it's kind of an odd link that was done probably about whenever the original creation of the RCN was done. And the connection itself, or the fiber link for our RCN, goes into a traffic signal cabinet versus being a direct splice through one of these splice canisters or splice cases. So every once in a while, those connectors in there, the little bullet connectors, get a little dirty and dusty, and maybe just a little bit of vibration due to the area of the traffic and the roadway there. So what we're looking to do is kind of repatch that and pull it out of the signal cabinet and then pull it directly into the number 9 vault there, where the City of Chandler has a splice case already existing. So the estimated cost won't be too bad. While we're in there, we're going to be also fixing a conduit that seems to be could be reused for this purpose. So not a whole lot of work, but still some time-intensive work to get done for this regional purpose, and as well as Chandler's link there. So that estimated cost around 10K should get us through to get that link done and get that link a little bit more reliable. And this link does go from Chandler all the way over to the rental car center. So kind of like crossing 3 jurisdictional lines there, starting with Chandler along ADOT fiber, and then lastly along some of the City of Phoenix fiber to get into the rental car center. So a key link we've had, and also it would be nice to get some of these other fiber paths available if we need them in the future. If anybody has any questions, we can jump to the next one, Eric, please. Thank you. The other one for a potential project is between Tempe and Scottsdale. We're not exactly sure. We're just going through trying to verify conduit and also verify pathways. So it's the initial conversation about getting this kind of going, but we'd also like to just kind of get the group's approval to move forward with this type of project. So Scottsdale originally was off the RCN was originally just a spoke, if you will, from ADOT, as well as Tempe has been a spoke off of ADOT. So both those links run around near the 202, and Scottsdale, I think, follows along the 60th southernmost paths. But The one concern we do have is that if one of those links gets severed, then Tempe drops off. The same thing with Scottsdale. In the past 6 months working with ADOT and Peoria, we're able to get a link that took us to Scottsdale along the 101 on the northernmost route all the way to Peoria. So that was a good kind of secondary path for Scottsdale. But at this point, we're looking to branch out and get Tempe on board, either a link directly to Scottsdale or through some other route. So creating a little small link that's about half a mile. City of Scottsdale has fiber coming down along the green belt there, as you can see in the second picture, and close to Miller Road there. So that would allow us to get a little half-mile fiber path to get onto then Tempe's fiber that's at McClintock and Scottsdale Road there. So, or I'm sorry, yeah, McClintock or McKellips. Gosh, I can't get it right. Thank you. And that'll help create a lot of extra redundancy. It'll be used for Tempe and Scottsdale can use that fiber as well, because they have also, besides ITS or TSMO needs, there's also other departments that could use that fiber as well. So that estimated cost, originally we were thinking it was gonna be a little bit less, but looking more like about $20K for that. And with that, if nobody has any questions, we're gonna jump onto the last portion. And then with, other than those two projects, we were looking at some other ways to kind of use the rest of the money that we have. And it's not just to just kind of throw the money out there, but we needed to think about things, because in previous years, before all these supply demand issues that we've had, purchasing fiber can take up to a year to get. So you buy it, and you wait a year to get it. Well, that kind of makes it tough on our fiber upgrade project, because we don't have any fiber to use, we can't install anything. So some of the agencies have kind of triggered us to kind of go to this advanced purchase or advanced procurement of a fiber optic cable. So that way we can use this for future projects. So that's what we were looking for approval at. This third item is the purchase, the leftover funding that we do have. We're going to use it to buy fiber that can be used for earmarked projects in the next year or two. So we'll have a large amount of fiber and just use that for these small little patches that we need along the way. And we potentially have been talking with the task force about some of the projects we have down the road over the next year. But again, we'll just need some fiber to move forward with that. So with that, open it up. If anybody has any questions or needs any clarification, feel free to ask myself or Eric. And other than that, if it's agreed upon, we'd like to have a potential move to an action item.
I think Hong has a question.
Thank you, Steve. Ryan, so if you purchase those fiber in advance, do you have a storage yard or somewhere to store those fiber? What's your plan for the fiber storage?
Thank you, Hong, and members of the ITS committee. Yeah, this is a little bit of a tricky one, because MAG is out of at least City of Phoenix building, so we don't exactly have the space there to throw in the parking garage and whatnot. So we're working on some agreements with some of the local agencies, either yourself, if we know a project's going to be there in Scottsdale, Hong, then we would look to store some of the fiber at your location or any one of the other locations we're going to have, either through Chandler, Gilbert, and City of Phoenix, even ADOT. So I've kind of talked with a few of you about it, that knowing that we're going to have those projects in the area and just trying to look for some storage. So that was our initial thought or idea, Hong, was to store some of that at some of the local agencies.
Thank you, Ryan.
You bet, Hong. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, Steve.
I don't see any other questions. So could I have a motion to recommend approval of the regional fiber upgrade support projects for the cities of Chandler, Tempe, and Scottsdale, as well as procurement of fiber optic cable for future projects? Please indicate so by selecting the raise your hand icon. Wow, okay. We've got a lot. I'm just gonna pick the first and second in the list on my list. So David Lucas, you made the motion. Bruce Littleton has seconded it. I'm going to go ahead and do roll call. Please indicate a yay or nay at that time. So Susan Anderson.
Yay.
Hugh Biddle,
Yay.
Trisha Boyer,
Yay.
Alyssa Dahl,
Yay.
Albert Garcia,
Yay.
Hong Ho.
Yay.
Bruce already seconded it. David gave the motion. Eduardo,
Yay.
Marshall,
Yes.
Mike Sutton,
Yay.
and John Willett,
Yes.
April Wire,
Yay.
and Marty Zeig.
Yay.
Okay, with a motion and a second with members polled on the teleconference, the motion passes. With that, we'll move on to item number 7. Does any member of the ITS committee have topics or issues of interest that you would like to have considered for discussion at a future meeting? If so, please indicate so by raising your hand. Bruce, do you have an item?
Yes, more in support of MAG, does this committee want to look at how we use turning movement counts and how, and the fact that we have them and they have a repository, do we as the Valley want to start using that, or how do we use that to as a data repository?
Okay. Great. And with that, we will move on to item number 8. Beginning with Susan, I would like to invite members to share information related to ongoing ITS related project activities in their jurisdictions.
Hey, well, good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing well. I know on our side, one that we're kind of excited about, ADOT is pursuing obtaining the RITIS software suite, so the Regional Integrated Transportation Information System. That'll be new for us, and we're looking at its capabilities and as well. So I'll probably be asking John Roberts of my team if he's got some time possibly to come give a presentation of that use and what we foresee being able to use that for at ADOT, and it's probably something we'll be able to share with other agencies as well, or at least the capabilities of what we'll have there. So that's the big news on our side. So thank you all.
Thank you, Susan. Hugh, you're up next.
Thank you, Steve. On our end, City of Goodyear, we have our federal project that's upgrading the traffic signal detection and controllers and adding travel time hardware on our Estrella Public Creek corridor of 18 intersections, plus the upgrade of our TMC to current software as in Centrax for Econolight. So that's now underway. The field work is ongoing. So hope to have that online soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Trisha.
No update from Mesa today.
Okay, thank you. Alyssa.
No updates, thank you.
Thank you. Albert.
No updates for surprise.
Okay. Hong.
No update from Scottsdale. Thank you.
Thank you. Bruce.
Just want an update on the 2 major projects that we have at our ITS. The fiber along Indian School is well underway and getting closer to being complete. And the contract for the fiber along baseline did go to council to get awarded, did come in under engineer's estimate. So that's 2 in a row that have come in well under engineer's estimate, although it was very interesting to look at the bids and see that the the contractor that bid the Indian school was twice as high as when he bid the baseline as was the low responsive bid. But much progress, thanks to MAG for allowing us to move forward on that. And we have, that's the report for Phoenix.
Thank you, Bruce. Ying Yang, do you have anything?
Nothing to report from ASU.
Thank you. David?
Thank you, Steve. A few items to report. Our ITS Phase 2 Safety and Performance Upgrades project is nearly complete. We're hoping to have that done by the end of April, as well as our downtown fiber project. It's only about 9 months overdue, so we're looking forward to the closure of that one. Those of you who might be in the downtown Tempe area may have noticed that the streetcar is out testing almost daily. There's also work going on to do pavement resurfacing along the entire alignment, and that's with some additional funding that was available. So currently Mill Avenue is closed completely between University and Rio Salado, and there will be other restrictions over the next few weeks as that work continues. Wanted to give a shout out to Ryan Gish for his help. We recently had some issues with our server that we were using that, among other things, was controlling our ability to turn on and off our video wall. So we were able to come up with a quick serial solution and get that working. So I appreciate his time and efforts in helping us get that to work. And finally, our adaptive project is well underway. Over the past several months, we've been working diligently on making use of the funding that we received from the RARF account, the Regional Area Road Funds. We received $1.223 million from the state and MAG for mitigating some of the congestion around the Broadway Curve area with the detours and road closures that are taking place. So we're in the process of finishing up the installation of upgrading the detection at 34 intersections along Priest, portions of Broadway, Southern, and Baseline. And we recently have started the process of installing the adaptive software, which is going to be Cadence. And again, that'll be at 34 intersections. The plan is for this to be operational by this summer. And that's all I have.
Great, thank you, David. Eduardo?
Nothing to report from Maricopa.
Marshall?
Yeah, so our ATS PM project, CS Construction has completed converting all the ASC3s to the Cobalt EOS. So 100% of our signals are running Cobalt now, and 100% of our signals are running the vision detection. And so now we're moving into the next phase, which is bringing all the Cobalt controllers in town up to the EOS and configuring all the detection zones. We have a standard template developed, which has 50 standard detection zones for a standard layout for our ultimate build out type of intersections. And that came about through working with CS and building off of what Gilbert had already started in terms of the detection template. So shout out to Mike Sutton for that help. And that's the report.
Great, thank you, Marshall. With that, Mike, do you have an update?
No, I'm just happy to be here. I have nothing to report at this time, but we're working on a lot of things. One thing I will say is just, and I may have mentioned this last time, but we did actually complete the installation of everything with that last round of funding with all of the detection, replacement of a lot of these old cameras that were here in Gilbert. Not all, but a good chunk of them. And so thanks for all of your guys' support on that. But it was on time and under budget, so that was great.
Great. Thank you, Mike. Jeff, do you have, Jeff King, do you have any additional updates from federal highways?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. John Willett?
There we go. This is John. The only thing to update is we did receive all of our video detection cameras through the MAG project. In the process of having ADOT come out and verify we received them all per the contract, and then we're going to start our installation. And then we're still wrapping up the design of our other ITS MAG project. Hopefully going to start construction on that in the next, well, it's got to go to bid first, and then hopefully start construction later this spring. That's it for me.
Thanks, John. April, you're up next.
I don't have any updates for McDonough today.
Okay, thank you. Marty?
No updates from Valley Metro.
Okay. Thank you all for those updates. The next meeting of the ITS committee will be held at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, April 6th. Via virtual conference unless otherwise notified. With that, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you.